A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13, powered by Tata Telebusiness Services. I'm Ritvika Gupta, and tonight we are bringing you highlights from our recently concluded Bengaluru Springboard. Bengaluru is shaping India's global tech identity by creating unprecedented opportunities for businesses, especially MSMEs and startups, to innovate, scale and compete on the world stage. And we are going to put a spotlight on how the city is indeed enabling enterprises to adopt advanced technologies, plug into global value chains and build export-ready solutions. On the show tonight, Pooja Jain brings you a panel discussion with Samhita R, founding CEO, Resilience AI, Madan Padaki, President, TiE Bangalore, and Bhaskar Verma, Regional Director Nasscom, Board Member, KDEM, Karnataka Vision Group Member.
So to set the tone for the evening, ladies and gentlemen, and Madan, perhaps I could kick off the conversation with you, all right? So my understanding is that Bengaluru, which is of course, a $360 billion economy, is home to nearly 25% of the nation's startups. But it takes in 40% of the funding that startups receive. So two-part question for you. How do you explain the delta, and is it justified?
I would say it's more than justified. Three reasons. One is, innovation thrives in an ecosystem. And ecosystems take a while to reach a tipping point. But having said that, I think Bangalore has reached that tipping point quite some time ago, and it's a very mature ecosystem. And the network effects now kicks in a very big way. For every entrepreneur who chooses the city to do a startup, like my friend Samhita, it will attract the VCs, it will attract the investors, it will attract the bankers, it will attract the infrastructure guys, and that fuels more entrepreneurs to come into the city.
Samhita, if I could come to you with my next question, let's talk about the rest of Karnataka, all right? So the Karnataka government has launched a 1,000 crore rural LEAP program. Now, how would you describe the impact of that program, or is it largely a slow-moving effort?
No, it's not a slow-moving effect. I think Karnataka is intentional, and we should give a huge round of applause.
Here, ladies and gentlemen, that's to all of you in this very room.
So we exist in this ecosystem because the state has started collaborating through these programs. And it's not just Bangalore. Bangalore, along with all the cities and districts of Karnataka, have access to science. The reason Karnataka stays ahead is because we are driving it with science. Next, now flip the concept. You can only say, okay, we have the tech access and we are the Silicon Valley of India. I would say we are bigger than Silicon Valley today, and that applause should go to the ecosystem like TiE, should go ecosystem like Bloom, Kalari, who are investing relentlessly and intentionally, but also to the craft world. Chennapatna is in Karnataka, exports the largest number of toys, the most, not just toys, innovative craft work. And we are going to help these small and medium enterprises to become resilient.
So with that, I'll move on and I'll come to you now, Bhaskar. And what's so interesting about the Bengaluru tech ecosystem is that you see a lot of dramatic product innovation along with gradual product iteration. All right? So you see Me Too players emerge. If there's a Swiggy, there's a Zomato. If there's an Ola, there's an Uber. All right? So you'll see differentiation and Me Too players, but alongside a completely innovative new age service or product in the same breath. Is this by design? Is this a fortunate accident? And do you expect the shift to change?
I think it's a very loaded question. First of all, thank you for having me here. And very good evening to all of you. Before I get into the question, and I think Madan will agree with me from TiE, and can we just go out and get rid of calling us as a Silicon Valley of India? It's Bengaluru to the world.
Beautiful.
That's what we're proud of.
In fact, I argue that in a few years, Silicon Valley must be calling itself the Bangalore of the West.
Because that's how, and just few weeks back, me, Madan, we both were there in the Bengaluru Tech Summit. We are not only thinking Bengaluru as a state of Karnataka. We are going to help the nation and we drive innovation from Bengaluru. And coming on to your point, Pooja spoke about whether it's an accident. It is not. And I will tell you, the foundation stone, if you will see, and if you will go 25 years back, the number of engineering colleges, the kind of engineering graduates we are producing from the state of Karnataka. So it's a very well thought. And I will give you another example. Maybe we are going to have this discussion in the next 5 years. I'm not so sure how many of you have heard about it. On quantum computing, Government of Karnataka has announced already 1,000 crore fine. And maybe we will discuss 5 years later whether it's an accident. It's a very well-defined process. That's what we are working on.
Well, Bhaskar, since you're offering us a sneak preview into the future, I'd like to take us down memory lane and go in the opposite direction, and I'll come to you with my next question, all right, Madan? Bengaluru did not become an IT metropolis overnight, right? So if you could walk us through what you consider to be the most major shifts that guided that transition.
Bangalore's journey is classified through 3 shifts. One is what I call as the handset, to use very simple terms. 95s to 2010s. We were the back office, the coders, the BPO workers, where we were told just use your hands, don't use your heads, right? Where they said, I want you to do A, B, C, D, and we did that well. But I think around 2008-10, we moved to the second phase, which I call as the headset, right? Where slowly the GCC started coming in. They started realizing that, Bengaluru and the talent has now learned enough. Now let us start to apply their minds to it. But I think in the last 3-4 years, and I think this is the future, that the innovation has entered the third phase, which I call as the hard set, right? Where we are operating to solve problems from our hearts of solutions to find innovative solutions, right? We have 1.4 billion people, 700,000 villages. Imagine like what Samhita is doing to solve for disasters, right? Natural disasters in the villages of India. That has an application everywhere else in the world. So I think we are entering a very exciting phase now when solutions created for India will now start being looked at with a lot of respect for the rest of the world.
All right. So Bangalore with its, IT euphoria has seen the migration of millions. All right. And the downside to that is perhaps urban mobility has been severely choked. Clearly, some of that innovation needs to apply right here at home at the most straightforward of bottlenecks. Where do the solutions lie and what's in progress?
First of all, I'll counter that narrative, I think we have hyped the discomfort of Bangalore because I have lived in more than 13 cities of India. Cities are bound to go through this transition because what was designed 50 years back was not designed for today. So I think we have to reshape this narrative that it is okay to spend some time on the road. I must also say that Bangalore has metro today. We don't speak much about it. But if you use the metro, you can go from here to Kodamangala in not more than 20-30 minutes. And people like us, we use it. So I think using alternative modes of communication, always saying the technology is the solution is not always correct because there are cities are thinking about themselves. Bangalore is at the forefront of solving problems of transport by introducing alternative routes of transport. I think it is up to us as citizens of this city to use those facilities and make life livable for us.
The brain drain is very real, okay? To put it in very hard and fast terms. We are losing top talent to our counterparts abroad at an alarming pace. And while we have made a dent with respect to reversing that trend, can Bengaluru alone shoulder that burden? Perhaps not, right? So where do the solutions lie to your mind?
If you're talking about the talent, because this is one of the most important asset of our industry, that's how I look at it, because, and you all will agree if we will have to draw the IT ecosystem, it's industry, academia, and government. That's how it works. And if you talk about academia, there are a lot of initiatives, obviously we all are working on, And the way I look at it is the technology is changing every 5 years. God knows, maybe after 2 years there'll be something else. But and I will give you two perspectives, one from government, one from Nasscom, what we are doing it. So I'm not so sure whether you've heard about, there's something called the Nipuna program, which government of Karnataka has launched around a year back, wherein how you can get upskilled and working very closely with the industry. There are many people from the industry leaders, they are part of it. Now, if I talk about Nasscom, so any citizen of India who is 16 plus years of age, we have a future skill platform. You can just go log in. There are multiple courses, including soft skills, because that plays also a very important role. We are not talking only about India, but across the globe. If I talk about the ecosystem in Karnataka, whether it's TIE, whether it's Nasscom, within the government of Karnataka, so the most important piece which I see from industry, academia and government is, there is a stakeholder consultation always. And we have something called a skill advisory committee in government of Karnataka, which lies under IT/BT department. So Madan is part of it, I am part of it. We go and say, okay, these many skill sets which we are seeing for the future and how we can be ready with that. So that's how the plan goes in place. And I'm coming back to the same point. It's not incidental. It's not by accident. It's a very well planned.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13, powered by Tata Tele Business Services. You're watching highlights from our recently concluded Bengaluru Springboard, where we are discussing what makes Bengaluru not just a tech hub, but also a launch pad for sustainable growth and global relevance. Listen into the panel discussion.
India, I think it's fair to say, has always sort of been perceived as a country of haves and have-nots. All right? But when it comes to Bangalore, it's often considered to be the ultimate equalizer, right? The undisputed level playing field. As a woman in tech, how do you respond to that? I think you're particularly well positioned to answer this question.
I feel very privileged. I'd want to start with. We are backed by Kalari, but we are backed more than just the name called Kalari. We're absolutely delighted to be part of Vanikola's portfolio, who is intentional and authentic about women rising. Let's flip the script to how TIE Bangalore operates. And because we are just part of the TIE Bangalore cohort system, for the first time I've seen TIE Bangalore has been running this for a decade. And we were part of their cohort of this year of 2025. We are just 2 years old. But I've seen women rising even in TIE Bangalore. Nasscom women, they also drive it intentionally, even if Nasscom is a centralized unit. But at Karnataka level, they're driving it. Now let's think of policy. How do we feel as a woman in Karnataka? The news that is waved, there's a wave right now, is the menstrual policy. 12 days.
Right.
I read it. And I was like, I wish it was there before, but at least it is there. A state is taking that front line. That makes a huge amount of difference for our livability. Technology. I personally believe that, haves and have-nots is a universal phenomena, and it does not discriminate a state, a city, a home. Haves and have-nots are good because without haves and have-nots, there is no equalizing. That we value equalization or normalization because there are haves and there are no have-nots. That has shaped women in technology. We started at 2% of the workforce. Today, we are driving the narrative by bringing women in technology, but more importantly, bringing them in technology by solving real-world problems. The only place where I see there is a lot of work that needs to be done, and this is not just Karnataka and women in tech, this is women in tech in general, is please retain women in the workforce. We come in the workforce with the best education. We come from engineering, scientific institutes. We also come from arts and liberal arts conversations, commerce backgrounds. What happens after that is we don't stay in the workforce. And that dropout in the workforce is what causes the ripple effect of there are very few women leaders as CXO positions in either the international MNCs, Indian MNCs, SMEs, medium and small. And we see this as a place which needs a little bit more nudge.
Fair enough, and thank you for sharing that. And, to do a bit more of perhaps a deep dive from a human point of view, as progressive as this city may be and as many success stories as there may be, I think one struggle we all face within the four walls of our homes is generation gaps, all right? And even in a city like Bangalore, as a parent has a conversation with a child whose aspirations have perhaps changed from, I want to graduate and get a job at Google, to, I want to now create the next big tech giant myself. All right? It's not an easy premise for a parent to digest. And if members of this audience perhaps find themselves in a similar situation, how might this panel guide them? And Bhaskar, if I could start with you.
I'm dealing with that on a daily basis. Second, Chamia. So it's a very interesting question, and I'm dealing at home and also in office and my job role. Firstly, forget about tech, keeping it aside.
All right.
The way I look at it is pick a problem, because I go also to different universities to speak and talk to these kids. Can you pick a problem? And I will tell you, I will give a very specific example. I was in a discussion with Commissioner of Police, Bengaluru City Police, and he was saying, you pick a problem and come and work with us. And he's ready to work with the academia, with the students, because one thing what has changed, if I compare around 30, 40 years back to now, the fear to fail has gone. Yeah. So this is something which has come from the place. And if I compare another city with Bangalore, and I will not name it, but if we go to another city or a state, the kind of conversation that happens at home, if I will tell my son I'm on a call, he understands that and he says, okay, then I don't need to make a noise because he's on a call. The moment you go to another city, they will say, okay, if you're on a call, how does it matter? Right? So that is the mindset which I see is changing, and if that can help another city, I think that's how I look at it.
Fair enough. And thank you for taking such, a candid approach to that answer. We truly appreciate it. The floor is yours, Madan.
As Bhaskar was saying, I have a 16-year-old son who I don't understand well, and he says so.
Not alone.
And he's not alone either. He has an 8-year-old sister whom he says, I don't understand this generation. They're very different, right? We run a program at TAI called TAI Young Entrepreneurs. We go to schools. Last year at the TAI Global Summit, we had brought 700 rural innovators from across Karnataka, including Bangalore, to engage with 500 rural kids, engaging with another 300 urban, and they were co-creating solutions. What was fascinating is the uninhibitedness of ideation. So my suggestion to the hall is, get them exposed to as many networks as possible. Let them participate, enjoy, have fun, because that opens up the mind. And in the world today, I think when we were growing up, we were all a part of that Dell, right? Either you're a doctor, engineer, lawyer, or a loser, right? Broadly, right? Today, you can be a winner anywhere, right? Anything you pick up, you can be the best, and the world accepts that. I think that is the beauty we need to celebrate.
If Bengaluru is, of course, celebrated for its tech prowess, I think one of the leading criticisms, perhaps, when it comes to India's top tech talent is that when it comes to competing on the global stage, or soft skills, or managerial positions, there's a lot of room for improvement. All right. So how do you respond to that? And, essentially, when we go to cities across the country, as a part of the Leaders of Tomorrow program, we always try and hand-pick panelists who care about the small business community. All right? So for someone in this audience who perhaps finds themselves in that situation, whose doors can they knock on? How can you be a resource?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. There is a lot to be done. Sometimes we underplay ourselves, right? We don't believe in ourselves as much as we should. right? So I put it as the 4C framework that is true for a youth in a college, to a small business owner, to an entrepreneur like us who are struggling. I mean, struggling entrepreneur is a given. You don't have to say struggling. Every entrepreneur struggles. One, believe in yourself. Confidence is the first C. Communication skills, and it's not about English, it's not about Kannada, it's about the ability to express yourself in a way that makes you feel complete, right? So that I see lacking, that you have to stand up and be heard. Third C that I talk about is creativity. That sometimes we always fall into the trap of, oh, it's never been done before. This is the way it's always being done, right? Challenge that and be as creative. It doesn't matter. There are enough and more associations, groups available in Bengaluru that can help you access these networks. You know, as Samhita was saying, TIE itself is one of the world's largest non-profits for entrepreneurs. It is not just for tech entrepreneurs. We are open for any entrepreneur, and we want as many entrepreneurs to succeed, because finally, hey, we are the job creators of the nation, right? And we better succeed.
And I'm going to come to you with my final question. Bengaluru is home to, I believe it's upwards of 2 million software developers, right? Yeah. Right? Upwards of 2 million, 2.5 million software developers. So in terms of new age jobs that are going to emerge to the forefront, even if you lack that inherent ability to code, where are they? How does one capitalize on them?
You don't need to be a coder to solve all problems. I always say this. Let's say a fun fact. I operate in an organization which is called Resilience AI. It has AI in its name, and we are intentional about that part of it because it is a high-end algorithm that we have designed and patented. I am a finance graduate. I ended up learning coding because of the stint in Microsoft, and I'm forever grateful to it because learning as a mindset comes naturally to every Microsoftier. It comes naturally to a lot of individuals as well. I don't think it's just a Microsoft thing. But today what we are doing for a living is where I found an application which is solving for the disasters or extreme climate events that we see. We see earthquake, landslides, a flood. The place where it ticked us is there is a problem. I know that there is a scientific way of solving it. But hey, you know what? Science cannot always scale. Research coming to market is not easy. So I know the problem. I know what is the blocker. Can there be a solution? The solution is technology. You can harness the software developers who know how to code.
Sure.
Use that ecosystem, leverage that ecosystem, and still solve for the application. So for the 2.6 million coders in Karnataka, the answer for them is there are so many unsolved cases. Start with transport, start with sanitation, start with natural disaster, climate. There are so many unsolved problems. Collaborate with people who have identified these applications. That collaboration is a handshake to solve for something that will end up giving a measurable outcome for Karnataka.
Ladies and gentlemen, this panel has added so much depth and breadth and color and candor to the conversation. A huge round of applause. It is deeply deserved.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13, powered by Tata Tele Business Services. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.